To learn about the off-grid lifestyle and to be inspired to live your dreams, click subscribe so you don't miss anything. Hit the bell notification. Okay, so today we're back at the tiny house build again, and I'm very excited. We're getting close to having this house completely enclosed in. As you see that we have got all the 4 walls completed. We got all the windows in. We got 3 windows. And we also got our door in. So the only component that is missing, oh, and we also have the floor, is the roof. And yesterday I started working on the roof. I had to go to Home Depot and buy 2x4s for our rafters. And in yesterday's video, I showed you that I was starting to build the very first rafter. And this is what I'm calling my master rafter. Master rafter, that's funny. It sounds better in my head. So now all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut every board, every rafter from the master rafter. Now, when I say master rafter, I'm not even talking about this side of it. I'm talking about this side. This side is the very first side that I built. I will take 5 boards for every rafter, because there's one here, and then on the opposite side, one here, plus all the little bracings that I got. It won't take 5 full boards to build the bracing, but just work with me here, just for reference. So what I will do is I will take this board, for example, and I will cut 2 boards, just like it, absolutely identical. And then I will set this one board here, and then it's a mirror image on the other side. So all I got to do is flip the second board that I just cut over here, and then I can work on the top board and then start working on my bracing. The only piece on the whole assembly that is not a mirror image, it's just one standalone piece, is the center here. And then what I'll do is I'll take my plywood and I'll make my gusset plates. Now a gusset plate, these are what you can buy at the store. These are metal gusset plates, and they got little sharp edges, little nails coming out of it. And so for example, when you have a seam, you take the gusset plate and you set it right on the seam, and that holds the 2 together. Of course, you put it on both sides. Well, these things are 98 cents a piece. And every video I watched, my grandpa, who was a carpenter all his life, my father, everybody that I know, my grandparents, everybody I know, didn't buy these. Now, you have to buy them for the end pieces, because on the ends, you need that to be flush with the wall. So you got to have them for those. But every other rafter in the center, you can use plywood. And so you cut your plywood out, which is much thicker than this if you think about it, and you nail it into this board here. And that causes the seam to be just as strong as using these gusset plates. Now, that's on all these seams, all the ones you see here. This particular seam right here, I will use a piece of 2x4. And I'll do it like that because I want a lot of strength there. The other way you can do this is not have a 2-piece assembly. If you'd have had a 12-foot piece of board, which are very expensive right now, so I don't want to do that, you wouldn't have needed this piece. But since I've got a split here, right here in the center, I'm going to do that on both sides. Now, you don't even need to do it on both sides. You can do it on one side, but I'm going to do it on both sides to strengthen that seam, and it'll be just as sturdy as anything. When I get the first one built, I will stick it up there on the top of the wall, and I'll check to make sure that everything's working out. That way, I've only wasted 10 boards instead of 50 boards if something is wrong. As I assemble them, I will hang them up here on the wall. I'll just spread them out, and they'll be upside down. You'll see how that works later. That way, when I'm ready to put them up, all I got to do is drag it down, flip it up, and attach it. Now, attaching the rafters is going to be a real chore. This is really a 2-person job, and I'm going to try to figure out how to do it by myself. I think I can do it. It's just going to be a real challenge. I'm going to use the assistance of other 2x4s to brace everything as I get it there. So it's going to be interesting how this is going to work. I may have to go get another ladder and see if Carolyn can help me. I don't even know if she will get on the ladder, She's getting there to the age where things don't work as well and she doesn't need to be on a ladder. So we'll see how it goes. I'll figure something out. I mean, even if I have to get ropes and pulleys and things to make it work, I'll figure it out. Today, what I'm gonna do, you see that I've started screwing screws into the floor here. And so I've also drawn a line on every area here. I've drawn a line. And so all I gotta do is take this board up and start cutting my next rafter, and I'll sit the board there and I can assemble it right here on the floor. And so it's going to be like kind of an assembly line in a manufacturing company. I mean, I've never seen manufacture of rafters, but I can imagine it's probably something similar to this. I don't know. I was going to cut all the boards that I needed for all the rafters at once, but I decided I'm just not going to do that. That way, if I make a mistake, I'm only making a mistake with 5 boards, not all the boards. Now, this process is not going to be quick and easy. I mean, I don't expect that I'll get more than 1 rafter done a day. I got to get 9 rafters, so I already got 1, so I'm going to be here for another 8 days building these rafters. I mean, I might be able to get 2 a day, but like tomorrow, I got to fill the IBC tank for the water and filter some water. But I'm on track. We're well ahead of schedule. I'm very happy with the way things are going. Okay, I got my second rafter done, or if you want to call it my first assembly line production one. All cut out. I haven't attached it. I mean, I put some screws down on the corners, like right here. I went ahead and put a 2x4 here. I'll put one on the other side also. That'll cover my seam. Then now all I got to do is cut my plywood gusset plates. And remember, a gusset plate is these things, except I'm going to use plywood. I'm actually going to waste quite a bit of plywood. You're not supposed to. Well, I say you're not supposed to. I'm going to make it stronger than what I think I need to make it. Normally what you would do is you just make a piece of plywood for this, and then another one for this, and another one for this. But I'm going to cut out a piece of plywood that entire size on both sides. And that way I'll have plenty of strength from the plywood. Much bigger than a gusset plate. Like I said, the gusset plate, what is that? That's probably 4 inches, well, 3.5 inches, where I'm going to make mine huge. That way, any errors that I would have made in cutting or anything can be taken up by that gusset plate. So I'm going to cut out a bunch of pieces and start laying it out. I made one large one. All I have to do is lay it down and it covers all those boards like that. Now, I know it's going to be more costly to do it this way, but I think I'd rather go out the expense, even though plywood's really expensive right now, I think I'd rather go out the extra expense to go ahead and do it this way than take a chance of it being too weak. My measurements may not be perfect and my cuts are not perfect, and I'm using primitive tools and that kind of thing, so I just will go ahead and give it the extra strength wherever I can, and this would be a good opportunity. Now, the nice thing about this cut is, all I really got to do in order to make my next cut is just flip it upside down, draw my line, at the other end here, and I can just flap it back and forth. Okay, so this is a completed, one side completed truss. So I've got my first one almost finished. Now I got to flip it over and put the gussets on the other side. So, and I've had a little bit of a change of heart. Here I told you I was going to make this all the way out. I decided not to because, you know, plywood is so expensive. And we got so much of this scrap that can't be used in anything for the 2x4s. So I decided to go ahead and use the scrap wherever I can, as long as it doesn't hinder anything, which it won't. Little spots like that will work perfectly for scrap. I hope I can encourage you to be happy and try to create something today.